Welcome to the 7 o'clock talk, and tonight we're going to talk about hair loss and we're going to talk about skin issues and introduce our next series. We've been asked to talk about the autoimmune diseases. Our handler person telling us
Our
what to do.
handler?
Yeah, I don't know.
You mean our Haley?
Yeah, Haley is saying our next topic are going to be what's up, doc, and it's talking about autoimmune diseases and triggers and causes and stuff like that.
Haley is a wonderful health coach.
Oh yeah,
If you have any desire to
look at me.
have a health coach,
There we go.
then you should get a hold of Haley Hennessy. She's awesome. She also is wonderful at website stuff.
So I'm Dr. Trevor Miller, and I have been a chiropractor. I've been in the health field for 30 years. I've been a chiropractor for 30 years. I've been doing or in the functional medicine realm for 25-ish years. Um, it started with the birth of my daughter that had mitochondrial diseases. I am a double certified functional medicine provider from both the IFM, the Institute for Functional Medicine, and the University for Functional Medicine. And I read labs or advanced labs and diagnostics for virtual clinic. And what else do I do? Lecturer and speaker. I always forget
Did you
about
say
that.
acupuncture?
No, I do acupuncture as well. You give them your role, cause
I'm just a simple girl.
uh huh.
I
13
am
years
registered.
of
I think it's 14 now. Been a registered nurse for 14 years almost, or I don't remember when I graduated, but anyway, that's the gist of me.
well, you worked on the floor, you worked in the ER, you
Oh, I have lots
worked
of experience.
everywhere, and you're a certified geriatric nurse.
But that's all in my past. But now I am very passionate about optimizing health, specifically hormones.
And we work together on our patients to bring them optimal health and well-being. And so tonight we are kind of wrapping up our 4-week series on the first test that we do, which is called the Dutch Plus. Right now we're running a special on this. So if you watch these and you're interested in getting this done, please reach out to us. We would love to help you. We've helped so many people get their lives back, get their sex lives back, get their hair back, get their energy back.
They just basically got their life back.
Yep. And it's been awesome. So, we are supposed to be talking about healing hair loss. And so, this issue can be because of many reasons. And the best way that we can explain it is you have to have balance between your estrogens and your testosterones, especially the most active form of testosterone called DHT, dihydroxy something or other testosterone. If you have high levels of that, that is the most anabolic form of testosterone, and then B, it causes hair loss. But also, if you have your estrogens out of balance, you can lose your hair too. And so we're going to discuss one of our patients. We're going to show our patients.
But also,
Go ahead while I reload the
this
slides.
is, I mean, we're talking about things that inside that causes hair loss, but remember about, what you put on your head matters too, like hair dyes, chemicals, shampoos, over shampooing, conditioners. One, it's very toxic to you if you're getting commercials, products, and it's very toxic to your body.
Or can be,
Yeah.
depending on what you're using. And we're seeing people now with lots of issues with, you hear about detoxification. You hear about, of course, in the medical field, they don't call it adrenal fatigue. There is no such thing as adrenal fatigue because the adrenal glands are just that. They're glands. They are not muscles. But you can have issues with stress that cause you, and we'll see this in tonight's case, um, where you can steal pregnenolone, and pregnenolone is a hormone. It's the mother hormone, and it's supposed to, for simplification, it's supposed to cascade down into two branches evenly. But if you have issues with stress, anxiety, if you have issues with your hormones or hormone imbalance, then all of a sudden those two legs don't get even distribution. And then you've heard of women who have BRCA positive breast cancer, and so they get estrogen dominant, and then they can have problems. Well, you can be estrogen dominant or you can be testosterone dominant.
Well, and men can have those same issues. It's not just for women. Men can also get breast cancers and things.
And estrogens have been implicated in some forms of testicular cancer. So if you are a estrogen dominant male, it's not good. So on the first page, our patient, how did she present to us? It was her and her husband. It was one of our couples. Thinning hair.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. So she originally came into us because she had issues with her thyroid. She thought. She also was taking hormone replacement therapy and wanted to get off of the synthetics. She also was extremely active, but she still felt like she had a weight loss issue, but she had major bloating. Her hair was lifeless. There wasn't any luster, thin and brittle.
And skin was
Dry, very dry.
And so if we look at the first page, once again, I want to pay attention to cortisol right here. Once again, as we've said in all the other videos, we want you to be in the middle and have this nice, bless you,
Excuse me.
cortisol flow. We want this blue line that she has
This
to be in
person
here.
is extremely active, and the first thing that she does in the morning is go on like a 5-mile walk, and so you can see where that would be a problem.
And so she's going to go on this walk, and then she's going to just run out of gas. And so you see that dropping down, and as it drops down, the rest of the day, she would say, I just have no energy. And so if we look at the top row, look at the sex hormones.
And I'd like to say that she was on hormone replacement therapy creams.
And so estradiol is at a postmenopausal state. That's what that purple is. Progesterone, which is above estradiol, is low. And then her testosterones, because of how much she worked out, they're in the normal range, but they're low normal. So she is a female that is in a testosterone dominant state. And so when you're in this testosterone dominant state, then you're going to have problems that males have, like hair loss. And so we see this, and so we got to put this kind of on the side table because this isn't the complete picture.
Well, and so also I'd like to add, she's low, very, very low in her estrogens, but she is also, even though she has more testosterone than estrogen, she's still very, very low for her estrogen levels as well. And so highs and lows mimic each other. So aches, pains, hair loss, dry skin, fatigue,
Low libido.
Yeah, low libido.
And so when we see that pattern, and you see this free cortisol, and you see how low that cortisol is, this is where I kind of laugh. You can say that there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue, but you can absolutely see that the cortisol is low. And when cortisol is low and DHEA is low, not DHEA total production. Let's go to the hormonal flow chart. Let's switch these out. See this DHEAS? That's the first one in the middle. And you do see how it's in the normal range. That's not optimal. You want to be in that upper third. And so when you are thinking about this, you've got to look at a female, and then you got to put the female in optimal range, which is in that upper third of the DHEAS. And so when you have low cortisol and low DHEA, cortisol is an energy hormone, and your body depends on it first thing in the morning. So when you wake up, what's going to happen? Even if you have pregnenolone, which is that mother hormone that you see up at the top, your body will steal that away from being able to make those other sex hormones just to make cortisol.
Well, and then we see it being stolen away from the testosterone, and it's aromatase and making all these extra estrogens.
And so this isn't a good pattern at all. And it leads to a lot of things being off. And then that actually looks like, I don't believe that's hers. That's not hers, because those estrogens are too high.
Like, well,
I was like, wait a minute, those
super
estrogens
low, but then here we are stealing it away and aromatase.
Here it is. This is her.
Okay.
Yeah, because that estradiol progesterone correlates to that.
Okay, perfect.
So we have the wrong one. Let me get rid of that one. I was gonna say, man, that doesn't look right. That's
didn't
not
look
her.
right to me either. But I'm like, if we're so low, but yet we're stealing, we got a lot of stealing going on here.
Yeah. So if you look at the top, that pregnenolone is going to be shunted into cortisol so that you can get up, be awake, and go about your day to survive.
Well, and we're just surviving with these things because every single thing all the way down the cascade is
low,
super low.
And this is when we start to say, okay, we need to slow down a little bit. We need to really look at what the person is eating.
That's what I was going to add. So this particular person is very mindful of health, or in what she thought was healthy and what is actually healthy is two different things. So that we worked on mindset.
We worked
for
on
a very, very long time.
Diet.
Because she is in the athletic fields and we call powders, and potions.
Potions and powders and pills.
So the mindset is if it's supposed to be healthy, it is, but there's a lot of added ingredients. So it may have a nutritional content, but what's the quality of it? And then what's all the fillers in it? And so she had a lot of dysbiosis, which led to a lot of this fatigue and dysfunction because she wasn't getting the things she needed. And so we had to balance her gut and mindset of, get rid of the powders. You can get that with food.
I don't know how many times she came back with a new powder.
Yeah. And I believe she got rid of it. And when she got rid of all of that, she really turned herself around.
We ended up figuring out that she is sensitive to sucralose. And a lot of the sweeteners in these mass produced protein powders and stuff like that are sensitive to sucralose.
And she was extreme sensitive.
She's extremely sensitive, but in her own defense, she's being told that these are quality products. And she is trying to do the best for her body that she can.
Yep.
And she figured it out. I mean, hey, if I eat this and it has this in it, I get the problem.
They were very pricey.
Oh, God, yeah.
And supposed to be high quality. But so I challenge you, just because you're paying a lot for them doesn't mean that and they may be quality products, but the ingredients are not healthy.
Well, the marketers have figured out that people have equated price to quality. So you have to read and be careful. Because if you're eating these things and they're not giving you nutritional content, they're not helping your hormones as they're not with her, then you're going to have problems. And you're going to lose your hair and you're going to lose your libido. And it doesn't matter how much of these po- in our practice, we don't want people depending on these things. We try to get them away from powders and potions and pills. You got to do it sometimes to supplement. That's what the word supplement means. But then we're very careful with the supplements that we use. And just for these types of reasons, this woman was doing everything she knew how to do for herself and still wasn't getting it done. And she had great sleep. She had great movement. She
And
cooked all of her own foods.
and she has great community.
Hmm. So it's just looking at this. And then, of course, she did the entire package, not just the Dutch. But the Dutch allowed us to start to get in there, tinker under the hood, get her to feeling good.
Well, and another thing is her partner was on board. He came to help her and began helping himself, and then watching them grow and really blossom together was really awesome.
Yep. And so when we're seeing this, you have to be careful, especially when somebody who's estrogen dominant, if they're in that E1, E2, E3, and those things are getting higher or hot, or if one of those is pegged, like the last person that we had mistakenly had the one in there for, if they're not eliminating, you've got to get them. You've got to get them eliminating. You've got to be on top of that.
You have to eliminate, because estrogen is stored in the body, and it will be recycled back by the liver and congested. So you have to get it out of the system, and you do that with fiber.
And if you're not eliminating, if you know that person who works out and smells like ammonia, or they have a really funky stench to them, pungent, they're probably not eliminating. And when we talk about elimination, you should have a bowel movement comparable to what you eat at least once, but twice a day. So,
And the quality of the stool matters. So you could be going 3 times a day but be constipated.
yep. And if you don't want to talk to your doctor or me about this, just go look up the Bristol stool chart, and that'll tell you a lot what you need to know about your poo. So when we look at the next one, here's what I want you to pay attention to. If we start to look at everything that is happening, you look at the free cortisol and cortisone, and we see above the range when we're waking, and then it's below, 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 low, within, below, within, low, below. Cortisol is low, and your body has to have it. If your body doesn't have it, it will steal it and make it at the sacrifice of your other hormones. Creatinine, if people are having trouble with their muscle mass, and she doesn't have any trouble with muscle mass, look at her muscle, look at her creatinine. Everything's within range. But then you go back to the DHEAS, and look at that, low end of the range. This is what naturopaths, this is what other functional medicine doctors, that's what they term adrenal fatigue stage 3. But if you don't believe in that, then it's HPA axis dysregulation. And if you have that, you have the same things that people have talked about adrenal fatigue. So, however you want to talk about it. When those are low like that, you have to bring those up, and there's ways that you can manipulate those. And look at the saliva cortisol. Look at how high that is, because the body needs that, and it tries to get that all rolling. And it talks about insomnia. And so she had good sleep, but Did she have trouble going to sleep or maintaining sleep? I forgot which.
I think she got up in the middle of the night to go to the potty,
Yeah, but that was progesterone. You corrected that.
but at the time, that's we didn't know. So
Gotcha.
this was the test done
To
in the
show it.
beginning. Yeah.
So now we look at all of the sex hormones, and then once again you see down in the middle there that androgens and metabolites. DHEAS works for both the estrogens and the androgens. Androgens are male, estrogens are female. And
And they are one way. So they help create the testosterone, which then is broken down into estrogens, but you can't go backwards.
nope. But regardless, everything on her
Is
estrogens
low.
was low. And so the body was struggling. And this is why she just felt a lack of energy. And she had joint pain and she had problems just being her. And she said she didn't feel like herself. And so when we talk about hair loss, skin trouble, and anxiety, once again, we're back to if she's not eliminating and these things are building up, then how is the body going to get rid of it? It's going to excrete it through the skin because that's your largest excretory organ.
And she was having trouble sleeping because her husband was.
Yep, that's true. He came on board, and once he came on board, if you have two people working together, you can really knock it out.
And he went from 2.5, maybe 3 hours sleep to getting 8+ hours of sleep.
And
he was a totally
fabulous.
different person.
Yep. So now we want to look at, what can be the problems with anxiety. And that's where we get this nice little, a very abbreviated page of organic acids. And we see that our B12 is actually within range. And people think that that's the energy vitamin. And, oh, if you've got vitamin B12, then you're golden. And it's not true. There's more to energy, there's more to the body than just 1 to 1. It's never a 1 to 1 ratio. The body is a web. It's a very intricate system, and it is a system, and you have to treat it like a system. Not that if you're injured or you have a headache, you can't take something for that and get rid of the headache. But if you keep getting headaches, you really need to take the time to figure out why. Otherwise, as you get older, they get worse and more frequent. You used to have killer headaches.
I did, but I also started stretching, and I haven't had a headache since.
Well, I mean, when we first met, before you did, you kept
migraines.
Yep.
I had migraines. If I didn't have a migraine, that was abnormal.
Mm-hmm. And so once we go down here, I want you to pay attention to this. You see where it says the neuro-related markers, the HVA and VMA. These are two of the markers that we look at. Oh, swallowed a bug. A little more protein. No, a little crunchy one too.
Gross.
The homovanillate and vandamylate, we read those to see how the neurotransmitters are doing. Because we have a lot of people that come in low with those, and they come in low with that, and they're anxious and they're on drugs, anti-anxiety meds. And once they start getting their amino acids in, and we get them on good amino acids and we balance that stuff out, they actually can go back and have the discussion with their doctors to start to get rid of those. And we have a patient now who's getting ready to start that. He's already started the weaning process. So there are things that
under his doctor's care, not ours.
Yeah, we don't prescribe,
and we also don't take away.
Yeah, so we're part of a team that works for you, and so I like that I can't prescribe, because for me that would be a very easy way out. But then easy is not always right, and generally compounds the issue, because I don't know how many times we get people that come in and they're on umpteen million drugs, and That's the problem. And but until foundational health is reestablished, until their neurotransmitters are good, until their hormones get balanced, you can't have that discussion to come off of those things. But that's kind of what we specialize in. We specialize in getting you to the point that you feel like you can have that discussion with your medical doctor. We hear it all the time. We actually tell people, hey, have your doctor call us.
Yeah, we kind of help alleviate the burden of the body so the body can heal itself. So you no longer need the crutch of a medication. Now, this person came in. So this was before we had done anything for her. And you can see that her, or the little bit of organic acids that this test done, she was pretty good.
Yep.
But she's been with us now about 6 to 8 months now. Her and her husband, phenomenal. So,
Actually getting ready to retest the
rarely has bloating. She has beautiful hair, very luscious, lustrous, thick, bouncy. Her skin is supple. It's soft looking. It's not crepey. It's not dry. She doesn't have circles and puffiness under her eyes. Just very, very vibrant. And her husband as well.
And so, once again, skin is not just hormones, but it's probably primarily, unless you have a problem eliminating, and then if you're backing everything up and the body has to use the skin as the primary excretory organ, you got problems.
And water is a big key in skin. But
Yep.
she actually was
Oh,
drinking
God.
well over her, probably 1.5 times what she needed, and sometimes 2.
Yeah,
She had to
we had
she
to
had to
pump the brakes on that.
she had to drink less water, eat more calories, and I forgot to say she sleeps through the night.
And doesn't have to get up and go pee.
We're still tweaking her hormones for libido, but she is so much better.
With that being said, join us next week for our What's Up Doc, talking about autoimmune diseases. And if you have questions at any point in time, always feel free to type it in the chat. It's always more fun to answer questions and to help people than just to talk at you. So, with that being said, we'll see you next week. Have a great day and actually get outside and enjoy this wonderful weather while we have it. Good night.